Is it meditated?
Okay, so I know everybody's socializing, but I do want to get everybody's attention. We just actually had a representative from SOU come in and said, well, you guys are actually supposed to vacate the room by 8:30, and I said, that's a load of crap. I'm the person who filled out the contract, and there was no clause about vacating the room until 8:30. We're here until 9. She said, well, as long as everybody leaves by 9. But anyway, just so you know, SOU's getting a little hostile with us, so we want to keep things moving. Let's welcome Justin Panic up onto the stage with his amazing, you don't even know what it's going to be until it happens. Neuro, psycho, hacking, something or other.
Okay, if I bring one of these trees up here? Sure. It's better. It's kind of like more nature-y. That's what I'm going for. But we're not going to talk about nature today. I do like trees, even fake ones. Okay. Look around, do some scanning here. How's it going? Can't see me? All right. Move the tree back a little bit. So I was driving down the non-super, non-information highway the other day, contemplating, as I often do, platonic forms and unusual and remote landscapes, and sometimes platonic landscapes. Imperfect permafrost plateaus and golden fjords and noble estuaries, and answers to important questions like, are we really just featherless bipeds, as Plato quipped? And what kind of psychedelics did Plato take, and where can I get some? I was in reverence. Oh, by the way, sorry. There we go. I was in reverence of the rain the other day. Put into a hypnotic state by the metronome rhythm of the windshield wipers and the streaming rivulets, missing all my exits until there were no exits, turning an otherwise bucolic Sunday cruise into an existential Sartrean affair. The rain is like the delicious dark side of a sunny day, and a reminder that there's always joy in the darkness, if you happen to be glancing in the right direction and with the appropriate intentions. The sun could be beautiful medicine, but at times a little too intense. Kind of like that irritating hyperkinetic person at a social gathering who raves on about carbon offset or blockchain or full contact origami or wrestling mythical beasts or whatever. But you sit with it, and you learn to let go, whereas the rain is that silent but penetrating participant. The sun is not what it used to be, that fiery god that required occasional sacrifices. You know, I was fanning through the high-priced treasures of Hammacher Schlemmer at a fairly rapid clip, actually using it as a cooling device when the sun was too intense. And lo and behold, there it was, the sun itself, a $1 trillion catalog item, now a mere semiological reduction. You can't sell the rain, it's just too damn slippery. It remains somehow sacred and symbolic. When it's a drizzle, it's soft and gentle, but when it rages, you migrate further inward to that fire that dances below the stillness of the mantelpiece. I like the cleansing action of the rain. I like the smell, because during the rain there's lower pressure, which causes environmental elements to waft and dance in front of our noses. It heightens our senses beyond our eyes, and is a reminder that it's okay to cry. The rain is like that wise old woman who taps you on the shoulder and says, this is important. Or go this way, not that way. Or go whichever way you like, what the fuck do I care? Or she says something really bizarre that gets under your skin and forces you to think, I guess I can't think my way through this one. What sound does a one-handed clap make? Did you know that you left your galoshes on the lanai and that your umbrella is leaning slightly to the left as the ancient serpent slithers through the unmowed grass of your mind? I don't know what that means. No one knows what the hell that means, but that's okay. Just let it go. Just let it drip on you. Like watching a classic film and not really thinking about the plot or the characters or the archetypes. Just letting it flow over you like a warm shower of words and art. Okay, did you get that? Okay.
Every word.
Good. Excellent. All right, so welcome. I'm Prana Shakti Rainstorm Spice. That's my spiritual name. I just made that up just now, so that's going to be my spiritual name for tonight. By the way, I'm seeing a sea of red eyes, which is great because you got the memo. So you're supposed to be a little high for this talk. I don't know if some of you got the memo, but if you didn't, that's okay. It'll be slightly less interesting. But the good news is you probably won't be reaching into your bags for snacks, because there's no intermission. Sorry, folks. This sort of ode to rain is kind of something that I do, not to rain, but to different things, colors, rain, whatever. It's sort of like a warm-up to kind of ease us into this journey and plant seeds of openness and flexibility, and to highlight the importance of having no expectations whatsoever. And this is sort of the tone of my talk. It's kind of like, so, you know, when you go to the gym, you go work out, you pump iron or whatever it is they're pumping, polycarbon reinforced nanometals, I don't know what they're pumping these days, but it's a safety issue. I don't want to injure myself. So that silence at the beginning too, it wasn't a lot of silence, but it was a way of trying to tune into your nervous system, and a way to demonstrate the importance of experiential life, to feel rather than to grasp intellectually. And just like how I talked about last year, there's more density and more energy within a cubic centimeter of space than all the matter in the observable universe. There's also that horizontal density and that relationship that's so important. So we're kind of really like, you know, we're all one in a way. If you can imagine like a microorganism and like I'm kind of like the flagellate-like tail and you guys are the body. Wait a minute, that makes me an ass, I guess. Okay, that's horrible metaphor. But in short, what I'm saying is let what I say drip on you and let me feel your bodies. That came out horribly wrong. Or it didn't, unless you guys are into that. And if you are, I am too, okay? This is a collaborative relationship. So, this talk is really about experiential life and leveraging the energy, the power, kind of essence of our surroundings, of which we're an integral component. So it really becomes a way not of manipulating the other, but of fine-tuning important aspects of ourselves. And one thing that I learned in many psychedelic sessions is there's the sort of four-way, it's almost like a four-way outlet connection. And if you take care of that, it's like everything else is taken care of. It's the vertical, the connection to the divine, and then to the earth, and then there's that horizontal connection. And you know, we spend so much time, reading self-help books and watching self-help videos, and even taking more psychedelics. But if we're off balance, if we don't have that pristine four-way connection, it clogs the system, I guess you could say. Another key point is that we're often defined and limited by culturally mediated constructs, like viewing technology only by the limited or narrow definition of its, mechanical or digital nature, uses, or applications. Right? Ayahuasca, for example, is like a biological technology or a spiritual technology, leveraging the energy and essence of social situations or obstacles as its own sort of technology. So by broadening our sort of conceptual, ontological, and linguistic spheres, we can produce an infinite expansion of possibilities. I mean, imagine the societal implications of referring to ayahuasca as a technology. It's like, no, you can't bust me. This is my tech, bro. It's like, this is my iPad, and this is one of really the most important lessons that I've gained from psychedelics is you have to alter the terms of your habitat, right? There's no need to sort of rigorously toil through that rickety Byzantine alphabet of the matrix-like labyrinth. Ariadne's thread has been laid down. We need merely to just grab hold. And another example too is, I'm sure many speakers out there can attest to this nervousness that happens in front of a crowd. Like, what is that? What is that all about? And I think it's that perception of separation, right? I guess you could call it separation anxiety. But sure, maybe, we identify ourselves as an introvert, but what does that even mean? And sure, maybe it has to do with learning histories and complexes, and maybe we have a higher level of internal physiological arousal, but learning can be unraveled, perceptions can be altered, and the intensity of energy can be channeled and redirected to move far beyond those flimsy concepts to forge a newer and more exciting reality. So again, alter the terms of your habitat. It's like that Easter egg that you find in video games, right? That's like a reality. It's like sort of a symbol that's connecting all these levels of reality. Has anyone seen Ready Player One? Oh, it's just so spot on when he finds the Easter egg. I don't want to give it away, but it's brilliant when he does. So I kind of liken the psychedelic experience of finding that shortcut or that wormhole or that hack. It's like we're caught on this sort of like, should I choose this side or that side? It's like, no, just merge, go with the flow. Sometimes you have to go backward to go forward. And I feel that we're all born with this sort of like Rubik's Cube, and it's like we spend our entire lives using linear logic, and after a couple decades we finally figure it out. But maybe we stumble upon a hack, and it doesn't involve peeling the stickers off either. By the way, I've hidden a linguistic and conceptual tone-based Easter egg within this presentation. So those who find it will unlock the golden key of Melchior and the first clue to possible interpretation of the unvoyaged manuscript. Kind of not really jiving with the slides here. There we go. Okay. So again, this is one of the most important lessons I've gained from psychedelics. Not an intellectual understanding, but a way in which I gained a greater awareness of the texture of life. Right? It's eddies and fields and fluctuations and striations and where the resistance is and is not, where the flow is low and where there's a lot, and how complex systems and constellations are made up of contingent articulations among myriad heterogeneous elements. And this is kind of why I designed my talks in a certain way. It's sort of texture-based. So all the important information that I need to convey is sort of embedded within the absurdity and tonality and meter and rhythm and poetry. So, anyone ever been corrected when you use the term psychedelics? And they're like, no, it's entheogens, man. I feel like we've kind of sort of gone through that. Like we've gone through that territory, we've figured out what we needed to. I was in the entheogen camp, but I kind of like the term itself, psychedelics. It's slightly more conducive to airstream. It has sort of a more consistently staccato grab that hugs that alveolar ridge at the roof of the mouth as it's being uttered. A little less slippery, more glide. Entheogen is a good term. So it's almost diphthongy, I don't know, a little mental, kind of dental. But EntheoGenesis, now there is a sexy linguistic transformation. Like when the nerdy kid starts wearing contact lenses and sunglasses. And by contact lenses, I mean augmented reality capable of encoded neural net memory link. And by sunglasses, I mean VR projection lenses with built-in electromagnetic Bluetooth transceiver capabilities. Because that's the kind of sunglasses a nerd would wear. And by nerd, I mean nerd nouveau. So, I forgot to mention, some of you were here last year, and I would like to mention again that this presentation is being sponsored, again in part by Mindcom.
Woo! Go Mindcom!
Yeah, thank you. Yeah. Yep, division of Octacorp. So rather than explain who they are, I have a quick 7-second video. Hold on one second. Sorry, that's 9 seconds. Okay. Let's see if we can get this baby flash. Here we go. Oh. Okay, so I've been instructed not to answer any questions about that video. There is a slow time-release quantum code decryption that is coherent with your brain geometry and will propagate and align with your 3D consciousness once the super communication system uplink has been fully integrated. So 1 to 3 days, you should get the message, depending on the level of sequencing and openness and all that stuff. Now, a number of people have inquired about Mindcom, and like I've told them, I'll tell you, if you ask me, there's no point in asking, since while their agenda is both clear and confusing, their point of origin, location, and infrastructure remain shrouded in mystery. And if you do want to know more, you probably already know, and will likely or not likely approach you at a time and location deemed appropriate or inappropriate. But things are changing at Mindcom. They recently hired a new ethereal decorator. They're kind of tired of hiding in the shadows, you know. So, with that said, 2 Mindcom associates are finally going to make an appearance. It didn't work out last year, as our 2 associates were detained while en route from a remote IHOP location. Infiltrated by a Black Ops Flapjack squadron. But in lieu of that skirmish, 2 associates will make an appearance. Dr. Stilly Dan Horney from Operations Management will titillate us with updated vision and missionary position. And Trillion Linux from Tech will follow the briefing on their updated nanosynaptic interface mind app Storm Cloud development. Now, this is not going to be, it's not going to be a traditional delivery method, but rather these associates will dazzle us with Gurdjieffian whirling dervish interpretive dance moves. Very similar to the hypnotic moves of kitchen breakdancing induced by culinary alchemical kundalini fusion energy. Now, we also have the distinct pleasure of introducing, or having rather, another whirling dervish master join these 2 associates tomorrow night. Someone who never needs an introduction, unless someone doesn't know who he is. But hopefully most of us, well, all of us do, because his smooth yet prickly essence percolates the space-time fabric like a Satiri Maui bullet ant rite of passage mitten. Ladies and gentlemen, Martin Ball. Yeah, so I'm looking forward to that. Lauren Gervais. And it's quite a story, actually. I would like to recount that story with you guys. If you give me a second while I cue up the music. There's Martin. I first lay witness to Martin's whirling dervish just after a Buick concert at an all-night Kaikion rave at a remote ice tundra, just outside of Ayetfia-Lirkatil. It was one of those unforgettable nights. The wind was cold and crisp. Aurora Borealis was engaging in its electric ethereal dance. Ice-cold moonbeams were like bridges to a distant cosmos. And there you were. Not a care in the world. Twirling feverishly like a Kansas twister. Caught in a divine wind. Breaking barriers like Chuck Yeager on a DMT trip. It was then when I knew, at the essence of my very core, without a shadow of a doubt, to which all those profoundly rich and cosmically poignant signs were pointing toward, that I was doing wrong. My technique was flawed. What I learned that night from you would change it all forever. You go, Martin. Let the universe spin you. That's what I learned. Of course, let the universe spin you. Brilliant. Just brilliant. So thank you. Of my connecting zoink. Okay, so now we're going to get into a little bit of meat. Those were kind of some hors d'oeuvres and.
You got about 5 minutes.
Oh my God. Okay. Well, let's just skip that. Then. It's not important. It's not important. There's a lot going on with psychedelics. I was going to try to basically, I've worked it out for you guys, some equations, but it's like mental projection, Stargate astral travel. I mean, are we really in the presence of quivering purple bioluminescent fiber tendrils, serving as the tapestry of some wounded Fisher King digital god in the inner depths of some adamantium hive labyrinth within the far galactic spiral near Rigel 7? The answer is of course. Of course. One really intriguing aspect of the psychedelic experience is that we live in a reality so peculiar and profound and teeming with life beyond our wildest imagination. And we're connected to that powerful force throughout the entire cosmos. We're remarkable beings immersed in a surreal, living, miraculous matrix. It's like, there's no way life is mundane. It has to be a sci-fi novel beyond the wildest sci-fi novel ever written. Although I guess it has been written, and we're in it. But I remember, Terence McKenna saying, I don't do great impressions, but don't get into astonishment. Dude, what are you talking about? I mean, revel in that shit. The miracle was the message. I mean, yeah, not being astonished. It's good advice if you're like Middle-earth swashbuckling hobbit, you know, looking to avoid nefarious pitfalls and trances by behemoth one-eyed creatures while searching for the crown of Gondor or like the Arkenstone or something like that. But you know, strong psychedelic experiences have really given me a taste for the absurd, that kind of stretching of the prophylaxis and all the little demons and angels and pixies of repressed trauma and happy memories and worlds within worlds get awakened and unfurled, and the circus ensues as you revel in your muse. So, 2 minutes? All right, here we go. One little last thing I wanted to end on here is not that or that. But there's really interesting things going on around us, and I'm sort of like an armchair anthropologist, right? So data is disappearing into the clouds, right? The digital realm is being resurrected like the Christos into the material flesh through 3D printing. Art is assimilated into the abstract ether. Did you know this, guys, that they've done away with the space between a period and the next sentence, right? And then like APA's like, no, you don't need headers. Someone's suspicious here, right? It's like, and then, you know, there's sans serif is a good example. In the late 60s, serif was sort of a way to like ease that tension, that cultural tension, and then sans serif, even font reflects cultural tension. You know, so what's happening? It's like this loss of space. It's getting saturated and crowded, and we yearn for freedom and space and spirit and tribalism and intergalactic federations, minus the savage Klingon invasions, of course. So, in closing, the great question is, you know, how can this transform consciousness and culture? And at dinner break, I wrote this down because I want to work things out, and so you guys can just chill and relax, okay? So by using modular and non-modular ephemeralization, we're doing more and more of less and less until we can achieve everything with nothing. We can accelerate an increase in the efficiency of achieving more with less while going so far beyond the box, surrounding the box we once called our modular existence. We should not be able to distinguish the very box from whence we came, with the parameters to which against it is compared, nor should we consider a bottom-up approach that begins from a place from which a bottom is no longer a valid and viable option. Those were the old days, when there were clearly defined and designated conceptual spaces. Now it's a virtual reality vertigo. With that, quad era demonstratum, thank you, I've been wonderful, and so have you.
Isn't it refreshing when we get a presentation that is just in plain, simple language? Isn't it? So, do you understand why, when Justin sent me his email for his proposal for his talk for this year, and I said, I didn't even read it, I said, of course you're coming back. So, I just want to thank you again.
Yeah.
I can be a little bit difficult to surprise. But this man can do it. Our final presentation for tonight is Brad Adams.